Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon.
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Wow, okay. Well, we'll start. So today we will be talking about the book club. And any of you, anyone actually love reading a book? Ada yang suka baca buku nggak?
Yes. No.
Comics, any books? Anyone?
No.
What about Karen?
Yes,
Do you like reading some books, Karen?
I
I
like.
don't like book.
Hi, Jason. Hi, Jason. Do you like reading some books, Jason?
Yes,
Yeah, what kind of books?
like novel
A novel. Wow, really?
and
That's
history.
that's a lot, Jason. That's a great thing. What about I see some of you actually has just joined. Actually, we'll be in talking about the book club, what are the benefit of the book club, and how it is going to be, and so much more. Okay? Have you
Okay.
ever heard about book club? You can
Never,
never.
Ne-
never.
Are you really? You never heard of anything about book club, Jason?
I
Nope.
haven't.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's okay. If you haven't, yeah, if you've never heard about book club, then this is the right time for you to hear some more from me. Okay, but first
Okay.
thing first, I will be sharing the screen so everyone can also have a look at what I'm going to be presenting today. Yes. Any question before I join
Do they have
and
book
start
club
the
in
presentation? Yes,
Bali?
Angelica.
Do they have book clubs in Bali?
Sorry, what did you say?
Do they have book clubs in Bali?
Yes, they do. Actually, why don't we start the book club? Do you like reading, Angelica?
Yeah.
If you like reading, then let's start a book club, okay?
Okay.
Okay, we'll be talking about that later on, but right now, let's start with I'm going to be muting everyone first and first, just in case we want to make the whole situation suitable. One second.
I just joined.
Hi, Claire. Hi, Claire. How are you doing? Okay, we see some more joining in today's discussion. I will be muting all of you first and first. Okay. We will have the discussion later on after I'm done presenting my about everything about book club, what are the benefits, and so much more. Okay. All right. I will be sharing the screen first thing first. Hopefully, all of you are going to be excited with what I'm going to be sharing right now. But okay, hold on. I will be informing all of you to. Okay, hold on a second. I will be informing each of you not to. Okay, Claire, I want you not to annotate or draw on the screen first thing first, okay? So we want to make sure that today is going to be a great presentation for everyone. All right, so we will be talking about book club. Now, maybe some of you have heard about book club before. What is actually book club? And maybe I think I see some of you are actually very young students, and I can tell that this is not going to be easy to actually start a book club because actually book club is very complex. In order to start a book club, we have to actually think of the same things that matter. What I meant by that is that sometimes second, listen share. What is this thing? Okay, hold on one second, everyone. Can everyone see my screen? Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Can everyone see my screen? Okay, perfect. Thank you, Anya and Audi. Right. So the book club is actually, it might sound boring for some people because this is actually involving reading. And reading is not an easy thing to do, especially to keep in track and to actually be persistent in whatever you're doing. When you're reading something, it's going to be very difficult to start something and also to maintain the whole process of the reading itself. However, once you get into that, once you're done, so this is actually like the next, the previous series. We actually have done it before in our pulse meeting about how to actually start building a good reader. Now we will be focusing on the book club and the benefit and how it is how book clubs are actually going to be changing you to be a better person, how reading generally will make you more than you think you are. All right, so let's start. So, okay, all right. This is all about connecting. When it comes to the book club, okay, I think it would be just great if I could have just let everyone unmute their microphone. Hold on 1 second. I will just let everyone to simply unmute your microphone if you want to, okay? I want to have an interactive meeting right now. I don't want to talk to robot. Okay, so if you want to say something, just simply unmute your microphone. However, make sure you don't interrupt the presenter when I'm doing the presentation. You can just type it if you want to ask some questions, so I can later on give you some more explanation regarding what I'm presenting today. Okay, so when it comes to book club, it's always about connecting ideas, connecting so much more. It's not simply just taking a book, you read the book, and then you forget about it, and then you just it's not like that. A book club could be okay. Again, I can see someone is doing the annotation. I would like you to stop the annotation first thing first, okay? I'm going to be disable it for now, so everyone will not be able to do some annotation. I want to focus on this. Everyone, please focus, okay? So during the book club, it's very important to understand that book club is not just about reading. It's not about readership. It's about connecting to people. Why is it about connecting to people? Because when you take the book and you're done reading the book, what you will actually get from the book is what you will be sharing with everyone in the book club yourself. A book club is like a group, okay, a group of people who have similar interests, or is not just similar interests. The only similar interest they have is that they all read at the same time. They all read books. They all love books. That's the similar interest they do have. However, this book club is very complex. So why is it complex? Because then again, when you're done reading one book, the interpretation of your interpretation regarding any books that you're reading is going to be very different from one another. This is a textbook, and I am not going to be explaining a textbook because this is for studying. But we also have something when it comes to books. Is very we have wide variety of books. One of them could be a comics. It could be usually the comics are going to be very enticing for all these kids. I see so many kids today, especially for the primary. You will love comics, and that's just why do we love comics so much is because it has lots of visuals, it has lots of pictures, images, colors, and it just give so much life in the book itself. Now let's get into, after we're done with the connecting thingy, about how why a book club is actually about connection and connecting with people. Because again, if I actually take a look on the picture, it's actually about people reading and then people connecting with others about different ideas, how to actually connect these different ideas and make it into a great adjusted, but um, how to say, like, to be in harmony. So all these differences, when people are having this different interpretation is actually how you see things. Okay, so when we're talking about interpretation, it's always about how you see things and how you understand things. So let's say if I say, let's say, Harry Potter, some people would say Harry Potter would not be interpreted the same way. Some people would say Harry Potter is not a good person, or some people would say Harry Potter, which is a character, is not, let's say, he's very brave. But some people would also say, oh, they're just very, Harry Potter is actually a great movie or a great book. And then again, all of these differences are the thing that we want to focus on, because this is beautiful. All these differences, this variety, and this diversity that we have during especially during doing the book club. All right, so now let's move on. What are we going to be talking about mostly right now? I'm going to be dividing it into four things: how to start a book club, what are the benefits, what is book club actually, we are actually I'm dividing it into four. The very first one is ideas and connecting. The second one, okay. The second one is the exploring. Hold on one second. I will be, I'm going to be giving you some spotlight. Oh, is that even possible? Okay, never mind. All right, so ideas connecting, and then the second one is exploring the undiscovered, and then we have perspective and perception, and the final one is let's do it. Because in order to start a book club, and in order to get the benefit of being in a book club, you have to start doing it, right? All right, so let's move on. Okay, so there you go. I will start with the ideas and connecting. So when it comes to ideas, people have this different, again, okay, hold on one second. Is my screen stuck? I want to make sure I will be seeing the chat first and first. Can everyone see my screen? Okay. Oh, hold on one second, everyone. I think the internet. Sorry, I will be, okay. Sorry, everyone. I think it's the internet. I'm going to be doing the sharing of the screens. Can everyone see my screen right now? Okay, why don't we, if that's the case, I would just, okay, perfect. Sorry, I think it's stuck. I would be sharing from the, okay, hold on a second. That's okay. Anyways, I'm not, that's not too far, basically, so you can also start. I would be sharing the screen one more time. Hopefully everyone can see now what I'm talking about, okay? So sorry, it's not the thing that I want to share. Apparently it's, why is it so stuck? Okay. All right. It's my, one second. I'm going to be opening that one. Hold on one second, everyone. Some technical problem is always happening. Okay. All right. But that's fine because we are doing it together, right? Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to be showing you once again. So this is the very first screen that I want to show you. The second one, when I'm talking about interpretation, it's this. Here, bring your share video to the. Oh, can everyone see my screen? Is it still stuck? Why is it stuck?
I can see your screen.
Okay, what do you see, Karen?
It's dark. The book,
First
the
in the book
book,
club.
and
And I can see your book club. And
the
images,
heart.
and drawings, and a globe, and blah, blah.
Okay, okay, okay. All right,
As
I
a
think
first.
I'll do something else. This is very complicated. I'm going to be, hold on a second, everyone. I would be doing some adjustments with my presentation so you all can see, okay? I want to make sure that everyone can see. All right, I'm going to be sharing my screen one more time, making sure it's actually okay. The book club. Boom. Now let's move to the next one. Okay, so I was talking about connecting previously. The connecting, when it comes to connecting, it's about expressing ideas and how we connect with people with different ideas. And it happened a lot, especially in the book club. We have these differences and different interpretation and different way of perceive things and see things. And in order to be able to connect, this is why it's very important to understand that we're actually reading the same book. However, after all the similarities that we have with others in the same group of, this book club, that's when later on you will be expressing your very different opinion from one another. So today I will be explaining about ideas, connecting and exploring the undiscovered, and then perspective and perception. And the last one would be let's do it, because was in the end of the day, if explanation wouldn't mean a thing if we're actually not doing it, right? We're not actually doing the book club itself. So let's move on. All right, so ideas and connecting is important because reading is sharing, everyone. When you start reading, you're actually sharing so much. Why? And that would be the next question, right? I mean, you're just reading. Why do I share something? I'm not sharing anything. When you're reading, you're actually sharing your time to and your time and your chance and your in certain occasion that you're actually going to be able to give it some time to read and understand and interpret it later on, that later you are going to be expressing it to everyone in the pub. And sharing is obviously, when it comes to sharing, is always caring. And when it comes to the ideas itself, when you're reading a book, when you're done reading the book itself, it's always in the book club, you will always end up with expressing what matters. In this case, if you're reading, let's say, a book about, have you ever heard about, let's say, Coraline? These are all some of the books, the children books. And then we also have books like Winnie the Pooh. These are some of the books. But something that is more difficult. I would not be. I think because our audience today is not. I think all of them are like mostly our primary students. I would be just explaining books that I think you guys will actually follow and understand. So in this case, I would say books like Coraline. That's also one of the books, the children books that you can read. Start reading it, and then later on, maybe if we had another chance to start, having this book club, we can start sharing your ideas and our ideas, and what we can actually discuss in this case in the book club that we have right after the book itself, after you reading the book. Next, exploring the undiscovered. Have you ever wondered when you are reading something, you're improving? Do you know that? Do you know that you're actually improving yourself when you read something? Let's say when you read, when you are right now, like say in 20%. Oh, hold on. There's a lot of discussion. Okay. When you read something, you're basically improving yourself, improving your knowledge, because reading is actually not just improving your knowledge, but also it's increasing how you see and increasing the way you perceive things. It's going to be very, very hard to understand unless you actually start reading and start getting the benefit itself after you start reading itself. When you're reading, you could be, let's say you're 20% right now. When you start reading more books, let's say you read 7 books or even more books, and especially the books that has so much knowledge in it, later on, you have no idea that you're actually at 70%. In the reading itself, 70% is very, very powerful. Let's say, do you know that you're actually only using 5 to 15% of your brain? If you actually get to read so much more, you get so much more information, you could have used even more of your brain capacity. In this case, you could actually see so much more in the future. So when we're talking about exploring, is actually exploring the undiscovered. In this case, reading is always the thing that would help you to discover something that are not discovered at that time. So let's say it's always a discovery. Every time you're reading something, let's say you read one book and then you read it again next time, you will always discover new things in the book. And that's the funny things about book. The more you read it, the more you actually get new information. The more, and let's say if you see that the character is actually not the main character is not good. Later on, you will see that the character is actually a good person. Again, you will see so much perspectives that you don't think it exists in the first place. And basically like what Emily Dickinson. Maybe some of you have not heard about her. Emily Dickinson is actually one of the greatest poet of all time. She's actually a very great poet. She said that the brain is wider than the sky. The reason why, when you read so much more, your brain could have been a lot wider than you think. When it's so wide that it's wider than the sky. And in this case, when you actually have all this knowledge because of this reading, and then you later on will be discussing it and having some time with everyone to actually have your opinion being heard. And this is when you're going to be a lot better. And because that's why, in the end of the day, the book club and the reading in general is going to be not just improving your knowledge, but also you as a person, is what I said. Because again, you have this brain in you, right? And this brain is going to be improved. It's going to be how to say, is going to be, let's upgrade it. Every time you read something, you will get upgraded. All these upgrades are going to be calculated, and later on, you are not aware that you're actually that good at seeing things a lot wider. Especially, it's not just reading. In this case, you can even communicate better. You can even see things better. I said a lot of things. Let's say I say see things better. What does that even mean? Which later on I will be explaining so much more. Okay. Now, in a book club, perspectives always happen, and it happened. Oh, it's not fun using PowerPoint, everyone. So perspective is very much happening every time you start a book club. You will find there's just endless differences, endless opinions that people actually are entitled to their own opinion, and they have different perspectives. In this case, that's why I put perspective and perception, because people, even if you read something, let's say in this case, I'm reading this book. When I'm done reading this book, I would have completely different perspective with each of you. Some of you would say, oh, let's say if you're reading a novel, maybe later Jason can also share some of his stories about how some of his experience about reading. When you read a thing, you will actually get, let's say you would say, oh, actually the plot is not balanced. In this case, let's say C is like, he said, okay, the plot is not balanced. And then B would say, the last part is beautiful. And from one simple book, this could create a very different interpretation, a different way of seeing things. And that's when you realize that, wow, in the book club, we can actually be so much more open minded because we see differences each day. And all this exposure towards differences and diversity of opinions and perspectives and perception, this is going to mind also means that you are actually going to be a lot, how to say, a lot nicer, being a nicer person, and you are going to be able to see things in someone else's perspective. So you wouldn't be judgmental. You would be a lot more, how to say, a lot more connecting with people. Because in the end of the day, book club is about connecting different ideas and seeing the adjustments and finding the same things that you can actually get used to, seeing the same common thing that you can actually um, then create, let's say, a memory or anything that you want to make in the first place. That's when you can start seeing things better and connecting better. Anyway, let's move to the last one. Okay. Now, this is not a long presentation because I would like to have some more discussion more than the explanation. Okay. The last one is let's do it. Because no matter what, if you're actually very good at reading, if you're not sharing it to people, you're not sharing what you're actually reading, then it's pointless. It's because again, when you read something, it's supposed to be shared. Um, it's supposed to be given for the world. Because when you're actually sharing all this, you will get even more. When you share something, you feel good about yourself, and you feel. That's why, how do we start the book club and how do we start the reading itself? What you can do, the very first thing that you can do is to always initiate. In this case, how do we initiate? There's a lot of things. Okay, but maybe we can also start the discussion right now because this is going to be pretty much an interactive meeting, by the way. So, how to initiate reading something, Krisa?
I don't really understand what initiate actually means.
Okay, initiate means starting something, Krisa. How do you start reading?
Mm, I just read usually.
All right. There's a lot of ways. Okay, maybe we want to hear some more. What about Anya and Audi? What do you think, Anya? How do you start reading? How do you start? Let's say if you want to read something, what do you do? So you can also share it with us.
So, so for example, if I want to have an idea, like, I want to draw a masterpiece for day two, but I'm like, I
Mm.
don't know how to draw it because it has to be good. I have to send it. So I just find books which tell good answers and good tips, so I
Can I
can draw them
ask a
like that. And when I
Right.
become a better version of
You can also take some of my advice. You can start reading actually as simple as by, as simple as by eliminating distraction, because the number one reason why you get when you get bored of reading is because you get distracted a lot. So when you start reading something, always start with a quiet place. Okay, are you in a quiet place right now? Because otherwise, if you're it's noisy and everything, then you will not be able to read very properly, because unless the noise is white noise, then that would be a little bit different, because white noise is actually just one simultaneous continuous kind of sound that would actually help your brain even think faster. So some of the information that that's just some of the things. You can also do some of the research if you want to. So initiating can be very very complex. You can do a lot of things, eliminating distraction, and then start exercising with the focus, because it's always happening. Exercising a focus is always something difficult. The new starting um, in initiating by starting to exercise focus is not as difficult as you think. To start exercising this focus, actually do, let's say, have a walk. If you actually have your phone with you at some time, or you have some of your gadget, it is an iPad or anything, or a laptop, just leave them, okay? Every time you're about to start working on your focus, leave your phone, leave your gadgets home, and then just leave and take a walk, because if you bring them with you, you would actually check them again and again and again if there is no notification. A phone was designed, your smartphone is actually designed to make you get distracted a lot. So if you want to get you to eliminate distraction, just leave your phone at home, and then you can just have a walk for, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes, and you can start. Later on, you will actually get focus improved day by day. And when this is improved, then it's and you can start reading things a lot with less more a lot more a lot better without distraction. And then after you actually start doing this initiation by eliminating distraction, and then start working on your focus, and then start exercising your focus, then you can start initiate the reading itself by reading the small parts of the book. If you The small parts of the books is as simple as the one at the back. So everyone, if you actually find it very difficult to start reading on the inside because it's a lot, right? Especially for those of you who are not used to reading a lot, that's fine, because you can actually start reading the one at the back, because in this case, this will help you getting used to the reading, the process of reading itself. So start reading the one at the back, or as simple as reading the title. If you're like, okay, start reading the title, and if you're not and when you get actually get okay, reading the title is too easy, then I'm gonna have to read more, then you can go back to the back of the book and start reading this portion of the book. Okay, after you're done, and you feel like you're okay, I'm good, and I feel like I can do the table of content, you can start reading the table of content, because this is going to be containing lots of things that you want to know. Let's say the topics, what are the things that you want to read. But if you're reading a novel, um, in this case that would be a little bit different. If you want to read a novel or anything with with heavy texts and all that, you will need to actually start reading the small portions first. Let's say in this case, imagine if this is a novel. If this all let's say reading all this at the same time would be giving you a headache if you're not used to reading. That's why just read the small portion of the book. Let's say in this case, just read one paragraph and then just leave it. Okay, don't overdo it. Every time you're about to initiate something, you have to not make sure that you're not actually forcing yourself, especially at reading. And because if you happen to force yourself and you're like, oh, it's going to be a very bad impression, reading would give you bad impression and you will not like reading at all. But if you happen to have that experience and you happen to actually overdo reading, you force yourself to read the whole thing, then you can actually start over. It's actually like a muscle. So before we get into a strong muscle, you have to break it down, and that happened a lot. Even if when it comes to reading something, it's okay to sometimes break it down altogether, make it bad, and that impression could actually create so much more, so much better later on that you are not actually aware of. But that's obviously there's a lot of ways, but these are just like some of the things that you could do. Next, after you're done with the initiation, you can start now. Okay, I can start reading very well. I can start finishing reading a book. Let's say you start reading a book until all done. Let's even, I heard some of you are actually, some of our students are actually able to read one book in a day. That's crazy. If you read a comic is full of pictures, and you can actually read it. Let's say 3 comics a day, and that's also fine. You can also start reading comics more than reading something heavy. That could also be a great initiator. Let's say a great start for you to start reading or initiate your reading destiny later on. Okay, next, we have, after you're done with all this reading part and everything, then we can start working on the improvement. How do we improve everything that we have? Let's say reading is not always, let's say if you're good at reading, sometimes just because you have read you finished the whole book, that doesn't necessarily means that you're actually very good at reading. No, that's why there's always a room for improvement. Every time you're about to read something, when you're done reading it, it's okay to once, to improve your reading skill. You can actually start taking those books that you have just read. Let's say you read it like long time ago. Let's say like 6 months ago. You start taking those books again and start reading it. And when you get, you will actually realize there's so much things that you will learn, or there's so much things that you happen to skip at the time, and that's just the beauty of reading. I would not be able to express how this is going to be very interesting unless you actually start doing it by yourself. Okay, but one thing that I can tell and I can recommend all of you to start, every time you start, you finish reading something, you can start taking those books back again and start reading it again. And every time, this could be a great thing. Later on, you will actually realize there's so much, there's so much more things happening in the book that you happen to skip at a time. Finally, in order, this book club, the biggest, actually like the very main idea of reading is actually not just understanding, learning, knowing new knowledges, knowledge in general, but at the end of the day, you will actually reach and achieve the better version of yourself. Why? Because every time you're reading something, you learn something new and you see something new and you see in a very different way, because all this reading is actually helping you be a better version of yourself. So you would be a lot wiser and so much more. Okay, there's not much to actually explain. And this is just one of the quotes that we got from John Steinbeck. Steinbeck, he's a great author as well. He said, I guess there are never enough books in the world. Yes, it is true. If you, someday when you are actually in the book club and you feel like reading is just your forte, you will realize that there is never enough books, because you read one, you want to read more and more and more. You feel like, oh my God, there's endless. You want more. It's a dopamine. The more you read, the better you will be. But anyway, those are like some of the things that I wanted to explain today. So thank you. Let's start with the discussion. If you have some question regarding the books, how to actually start the book club, how to start, let's say, oh, maybe you want to share some, or you want to ask some more tips about how to start reading, then this is the time for you to start the discussion. All right. Okay, everyone, I'm going to be stop sharing the screen first thing first, and then let's start talking. I have, we have, oh, is it really Alvin? Hello, Alvin. Are you, okay. So we have Anya, we have Karen, and so much more. Everyone, if you had something to say or ask regarding the book club and how to start a book club or maybe some tips that you want to actually get to read better. But first thing first, maybe if there is no question, I would like to hear some more from I see. Let's say Jason. Jason, previously you said you like reading novel, right? Jason, Jason, are you still there?
Yes.
What kind of what novel are you reading, Jason? Like what novel uh, that you love to read?
For me, I really like reading history a lot.
What kind of history?
About the Japanese war and then attack Indonesia. Then you know.
Wow, okay, that's a tough choice. But anyway, of course, we have different tastes, and that's totally fine. And anyway, so what did you get from reading those books, Jason?
So I got that um was conquering Indonesia for 3 years, 3 years, and then the first president had pushed the Japanese back to their own country,
Mm-hmm.
and then the only weapon for Indonesia was the bamboo, the sharp bamboo, and then they will usually take the Japanese weapon, the Japanese weapon, and what? Blair, what happened?
Sorry, everyone, I was disconnected. Yeah, this happened.
Who the house? Oh, finally.
Okay,
Oh, bagus na.
okay. All right. Sorry. All right. So okay, so I was disconnected. The internet was not so good, and it's not cute. But anyway, that's a great thing to share, by the way, Jason. Thank you so much. Anyways, if you love reading something relating to wars, World War, anything like that, you can also start reading, the Art of War. Actually, this you can get it from that's available. It is either online or offline. You can also buy them if you want to, but that could, that could is that's possibly very hard to read, especially for kids. But that's totally fine if you actually start reading something like that in a very early age. That's also fine. But anyways, thank you, Jason. Krisa, have you got something to say for Jason? You seem to be giving thumbs up.
No, I have
I
nothing to say.
everyone, Krisa is actually very good at writing stories. She made a story. I think the title is Lost Pearl, right, Krisa? She is not. I think she's not into reading. She's actually into creating the story. Isn't that great, everyone? And in fact, if you're actually very good at reading, you can start writing, which is the hardest part. It's okay. Reading is fun, okay, but when you actually start creating something and start writing something, you can also start expressing your knowledge and everything that you know in a form of writing, which is going to be very amazing. But anyway, props to Krisa for writing stories. And Krisa is actually going to be grade 4. She wrote those stories in grade 3, everyone. But anyway, okay. So we have Jason sharing some his his book reading experience, and then basically in the book club itself, it's not much going on. If we say that's why I'm not explaining too much, especially I'm not actually presenting anything too much because in the end of the day, what matters in the book club itself is how we see perspectives and how we connect with people. And in the
Sorry.
so if you have something that you want to start discussing with everyone, you can also.
Can I drink?
Sorry, what is it, Kezia?
Can I drink?
Can I what? Sorry.
Can I drink?
Oh, drink. Yes, absolutely. Everyone, it's 1:40 if you want to drink, and even if you want to have some lunch, that's also fine. So don't feel stressed out for staying on your screen, okay? Please get some food and get some drink as well. Make sure you are comfortable.
I wanna get the drink first.
Okay, Kezia. All right. Okay, everyone. So anyone else want to share some of their experience about reading? And maybe we can also, if we know that story, if we all know the story, then we can actually start discussing and giving our own opinion about the books itself. Anyone? I see. What about who loves reading here? What about Willie? Willie, do you like reading?
Yes.
Willie, yeah. Do you like reading, really?
Yes.
What do you like? What do you like to read, Willie?
I like to read science.
Science. What kind of science? Why do you like science, really? Can you tell us more about anything about that?
Because later when when I am big I will become a doctor.
Ooh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, Kevin, I see, you seem to be unmuted. Have you got something to say, Kevin?
No.
Okay. Do you read something, Kevin,
Yes.
or anything?
Yes.
What is it? Can you tell us?
I just read books.
Yeah. What types of books?
Learning books. Like
Okay. What do you get from the book?
well I get
What did you get from the book? Can you speak louder to the microphone?
I forgot what I read. But
Oh, okay. Okay. Anyways, hold on 1 second. I would
See y'all next time. Goodbye. Aduh. See y'all.
okay.
Bye.
Anya, Audi. Hi, Audi.
Bye.
Audi. Audi, do you like reading, Audi?
Yeah.
What do you read?
I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. At
I
least
read.
if you don't know now, maybe you
I
know
think I
something.
know. I think I know
What is
already.
it?
I read
What is
about
it?
the giant turnip.
Okay. And what is it about?
It's about the giant turnip.
Oh, okay. What does a giant turn? What is it? Giant? What is it again?
The giant turnip.
Okay, what is the giant turnip doing basically in that book?
Okay, I'll tell you.
All right, go ahead.
They have a big garden. Yeah.
Okay, what else?
And then after that, they have a lot of pets.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forgot the third one. Growing big. And then it's growing, and then the giant turnip is growing big and big and big and big and big and big into giant turnip. And then they pull it out,
Okay.
and then they eat the turnip. That it.
All right. Okay, that's a
But
fun one.
sometimes I'm reading normal books, but I read comic books too much.
Uh-huh. Okay. Right. Thank you. Thank you, Audi, for sharing. All right. Okay. All right,
Bye.
everyone. All right. I see some of you have shared some of your experience about reading. Anyone else want to share some more about your reading experience or anything that you maybe what would work? I think have you got any struggles regarding when it comes to reading? Have you got anything? What is your number one problem in reading? Can someone tell me? We have Nicole right here. Hi, Nicole. Are you there? Hi, Nicole. All right. Apparently, Nicole is not. Okay, Giorapa. Go ahead, Giorapa.
Hi, Paduni.
Hi, Giorapa.
So, so what I
Mm-hmm.
usually read is mostly comics because my mom and dad bought me a lot of comics.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them are like Indonesian comics. Some of them are English comics like Asterix. Um, they also have some Japanese comics, but they read it in written in English.
Mm-hmm.
And um, and sometimes I also read my geography and world history book also.
Okay. So what's your favorite comics, basically, Giorapa?
Basically, uh, basically, wait, pardon me, I want to get it.
Okay. All right. While we're waiting for Giraffe, we have Desta. Oh, okay, Giraffe is showing his comic, right? Oh, what is it about Giraffe? It's
It
a
is
is
about my. Is it? It is about my favorite TV show that I watch almost every day and on my favorite channel. It is a comic, but we read it this way, not from here to here, but from
uh-huh.
here to here, from the back to front.
Okay. All right. So maybe you can tell us like the story in the book that you read, basically. What is it? Anything that you can share about what is actually Beyblade? Is that Beyblade?
Yeah,
Yeah. What is it about actually, Giraffe?
Beyblade is about um is some people who believe that there is like Beyblade is like a spinner that you can actually put into a launcher, and then when you launch it, it spins into like a stadium. A stadium is like a stadium like it is a round stadium, and then it has like walls in it also. So this book so this Beyblade, this Beyblade book is actually written by Hiro Morita.
Oh, okay. Is it
But
a Japanese writer?
um, sounds like a Japanese rather. I mean, Beyblade is created in Japan, but
Okay.
Japan wanted, but the Beyblades, the actual Beyblade, the material, the metal, the plasticness, the rubber is made is made in China.
Okay.
But Japan
Right.
had the idea to make Beyblade.
Exactly. Actually, what I'm more interested in that story, basically, Giraffe, because Beyblade is actually created by someone, right?
Yeah.
So one thing that I think I forgot to also like tell all of you, when we're actually reading something, we are not just reading the story, but we can actually see something related to the writer, the one who create the story. Do you know that?
Yes, Padoni.
Yeah. If let's say, what do you think is the purpose? Let's say the writer made that Beyblade. What do you think is the purpose, Jirapa? Your personal opinion. That's fine.
The personal opinion is like the personal opinion why this guy made the book or why Japan made Beyblade, the actual Beyblade, or the book.
Why the writer made the book?
The writer made the book so that there are many reasons. So
Mm-hmm.
first reason for me is that so that people know what are the names of the Beyblade. In the
Mm-hmm.
be, Before we read the story, we can find the names of the Beyblade here and the characters also
Mm-hmm.
and their personality, also how strong the Beyblade is. And the
Oh.
second reason is that they know the story behind behind Beyblade,
Mm-hmm.
so that they know um oh, this is the story of, for example, this character. For example, I like this character. I want to know the story of it. How this
Which one? Okay. Which one is your favorite character?
ooh, oh, it's hard. Uh
Why is it hard? Because you like a lot of you love all of them.
I probably like Shoe. Wait,
Okay.
this one.
What are the
The
characteristics of that character? What is it
the
again? Is it she?
Shoe on the book cover with
Okay.
red
So
eyes.
so what is Shu very good at? Let's say.
Shoe is very usually Beybladers launch with their right hand, but since Shoe's right hand is hurt, he's able to launch with his left hand, and no blader in that book can launch with his left hand. Can launch with
Wow.
the left hand.
Okay. Right, everyone. This is why, you know what, later on, if we actually really are starting a book club, is going to be about sharing and expressing your opinion, and basically how you express it, and people will actually have different opinions about, let's say, Geographer. Oh, I think I'm stuck again. Oh, my hair. Let me try to connect with my internet connection. Hold on 1 second, everyone.
Mark, where are you? Am I the host now? Why is your picture
Okay, hi everyone. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Varuni.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, so book club, basically what we just did is actually how book club is going to be. So later on, if you are interested in starting a book club, that book club will actually about, you will take one book that you will all read at the same time, okay, that you will all read at the same time, and then you will, when you're done reading the book, you will have discussion about that specific book. In this case, we just discussed about the Beyblade, right, Jarafa? And in
Yes,
Jarafa's
Varuni.
opinion, using left hand, let's say, from the character is actually very, it's
Interesting.
amazing. Yeah, right. But let's say some people might have different opinion. Let's say I would say, oh, I don't think it's that good. I mean, it's just using left hand. There's nothing cool about it. That's also an opinion, because guess what? Opinion could be very different from one another, and that's totally fine. Especially when we're having this discussion, it's always great to have this diverse opinion, differences and all that. Yes, Jorapa, you have something more to say with everyone? Go ahead, Jorapa.
Yes, Varuni.
Go ahead.
So, the first thing that I want to say is this is book number one, volume number one. Volume means like book number one or episode number one. One volume number one volume, which is one book, contains 4 chapters,
Mm-hmm.
and it's black and white.
Okay. Is that
And
all? Mm-hmm.
one more thing. This is the very first season that the TV channel that I usually watch Beyblade didn't launch it, didn't release it.
All right. Okay. That's
Thank you,
great,
Padoni.
Jarafa. You know all that basically. So, see, again, when you read something, you will be a lot better than you thought because this is actually improving you. Ooh, okay. This is not just improving your knowledge, but it's also going to be improving the way you communicate with someone. In this case, we can see that Jirafa has read a lot, and it just it shows that he's actually able to start expressing and communicating what he read to all of us. But anyway, we still have 4 more minutes. Anyone have got any more question or anything to share before we end this session? It's been a great discussion. Maybe I want to really start a book club with all of you. Maybe we can start reading something simple as a comic, right? That we can start discussing about what the comic is about, and then who are the favorite characters in the comic, and then having all these differences, and you can start working on your argument as well. Remember, I was presenting that as well. I think 3 days ago on Monday about speak better, and especially when you start reading things and you are very good at it, you can start strengthening your argument that later on will be very good for you when you're talking or convincing people. And this is a great opportunity for all of you to actually start working on your communication skill. But anyway, I think that's all for today. Anyone have got any more question or um, anything that you want to share? Thank you, Jirafa, for sharing a lot. Actually, Jirafa is a great presenter, right, everyone? Maybe we should hear some more from Jirafa later. I think everyone is doing very well here. I see some of you are actually not from Cheha, which is great. I see, but we have lots of people to join today's discussion anyway. But anyway, it's great. Thank you so much for joining today's discussion. Anyone have got any more questions before we end the session? You can start taking your book now, okay? This is done, after the session is done, start taking your favorite book and just simply read it, okay? Just read the title first and the one at the back. And later on, you are going to be a lot better than you think. Just try by reading a small part. You can also start taking some of the advice from Anya about reading a book, and then because she loves drawing a lot, so she can also start thinking of what drawing that she could actually make, or making an illustration of the book itself, which is also a great idea. Yes, Jirafa, you raised your hand. Anything you want to share? Go ahead.
Padoni,
Yep.
Padoni,
Hmm.
when are we going to take the photo? Are we going to take the photo?
Oh, you want to take the photo? Yeah, go ahead. Actually, we don't have that, but that's okay. Everyone, then you have to turn on your camera. What about that? Okay.
Uh, Padoni, actually, do you want the students like to read the book in the Zoom meeting?
Yeah, maybe if that's the case, if we will have another meeting, maybe later on we can also start reading the book and then we have the discussion. That would be a great idea, Jorafa.
Oh, okay. But is it okay if it is in Indonesian because this is in Indonesian?
Yeah, that's fine. We can you can actually type the book Giraffe in the chat. Okay, you can type
Oh,
the title of the book and what volume it is. Is it like basically? Then we can start. Um, we all can start reading that book, and maybe we can have discussion later on when there is another book club session for all of us. Okay.
okay. Thank you, Padoni. I hope
Thank
there is
you.
another book session.
Okay, let's start with the photo session, okay? I mean, turn on your camera, everyone. I see Tabia. I see everyone basically right here. Please turn on your cameras. Show your face, okay? To the camera. I will be taking a screenshot, so make sure you look beautiful. Everyone is looking beautiful, though. How are you all doing anyway? I hope everyone is doing so well. It's actually two. Okay, I'm going to start right now. Okay, ready? One, two, three. Okay, one more time. One, two, three. Perfect. So, thank you so much, everyone, for today's discussion. A beautiful, beautiful discussion. I see
Terima
everyone is.
kasih. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank
I'll see
you.
you next time.
Bye.
Um,
Thank you, sir.
bye.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Bye.
Jangan naik tangga. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Padoni, and I can't wait for the drum lesson.
All right. Don't forget about that. It's going to be there. Just make sure you check the
Bye.
description. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Have a great day. Stay healthy.
Bye.